Hey, what's up, YouTube? I'm back. I'm drinking myself a White Claw. You might be asking, why is he drinking a White Claw? Well, I'm out of beer. On purpose, though. I'm not quitting making beer. I've just been waiting for all my kegs to run out so I can do a deep cleaning of my draft system. I'm running I think it's like a 6 cubic foot Keezer in the garage. I got 4 taps on there plus 2 party taps on the inside. And it's just a good time of year to start over, get everything freshened up, and get some good beer pumping through these lines. So I'm going to be tearing apart beer lines, gas lines, kegs, faucets, everything. So I'm going to be taking you guys along, and until then, I got to go buy beer off the shelf, which is not a bad thing. White Claw, we know how to make it way cheaper, but it's kind of nice just popping open a can and just drinking it. So let's head out to the garage and let's go get started. Let's go. Oh man, that ISO is terrible. Let's see if we can fix that. That looks better. Alright, so we're back out to the garage. Gonna be doing, like I said, some Keezer maintenance here, brew system, cleaning out kegs, replacing beer lines, checking gas lines for leaks. Just doing a good annual system check, make sure I'm not wasting anything. And also gonna be cleaning out the inside of this Keezer because beer does spill. If you do get a keg system, it will spill. So if you get something that's got a bottom drain plug like mine does, get it. And also, if you put wheels in your keg, your Keezer makes everything a lot easier. So that ISO is still off, man. There you go, that's better. So let's go ahead and get started. Like I said, I'm going to be showing you guys some of the highlights here. Not going to be dragging this out. We all know what to do. I'm just recording me doing it. Alright, so as you can tell, I've already taken off 2 of these taps here. I had a buddy make me this custom tap handle here. It's awesome. If you know what a Savo round is, that's what that is, 25 mic. So I'm going to unplug the electronics. So the kegs are undone. Keep that unplugged in for now. Just pop it open and check out what I got to be doing. Okay, so I got 4 kegs in here now. All 4 pretty much empty. I got my fan over there in the corner. Got my brand new CO2 tank. I'm going to be taking everything out. I'm going to be cutting off these beer lines because they're about a year old. Beer lines are definitely cheaper because we can buy this stuff on Amazon. I got an order coming in. It should be here by tomorrow. Replacing all these beer lines, cleaning all these faucets here, cleaning out the kegs, and just cleaning up the stuff here that just happens. You're going to get spills. The bottom's kind of nasty. It's going to happen. So let's go ahead and get everything cleaned up, and we'll be back. Alright, so a few quick tips here. I'm using 3/16 beer lines. I think outer diameter is 7/16. I'm not reusing these, so I'm just going to cut them off and throw them away. You can get it, like I said, Amazon, any online brew supply store. When you're also making your holes for your faucets, I use a 3/4 inch bit. Make sure you use something 3/4, maybe a little bit bigger. That's going to make taking these on and off a hell of a lot easier. Alright, so I just took everything apart. I got the lid off with the 2x6 collar that I made. I do have some weather stripping up here. Going to check that out. It's looking pretty good here. I'm going to let the frost inside the freezer melt off. I'm going to double check online, see how I can prevent that from happening. I do have a small fan in there, but I actually might need to get like a moisture pack to absorb some of the moisture. I'm going to be dumping out these kegs. Going to be checking all the posts again, and then replacing all my beer lines, and also checking my CO2 gas lines. I do have a small CO2 leak. This is going to give me time to check all my connections, make sure everything is good. That's why I did take the manifold off. Could be considered a little bit extra, but I do notice I do have a CO2 leak. So this is going to help me find where it's leaking from. So I'll stop wasting the CO2. So it's a little bit of work. It is like 90 degrees right now in Texas. So humid too, but we got to do it. So let's get back to work. Okay, so we unscrewed all of our posts, and I pulled out all of the dip tubes here. Sorry, the car going by. This is going to be your in, and the long one's going to be your out, okay? So these do have little openings on, make sure they're all good to go. And let's go clean all these out now. Alright, so we're back. Been doing a lot of cleaning, a lot of disassembling, but now we get to put everything back together. So right now I'm going to be putting my kegs back together. I have 4 of them. Before I put them back together, though, on all the threads, I'm going to be using some of this petroleum food safe grease here. I'm going to be putting that on all the threads. These freezers do get really cold, so this is going to help keep it sealed up. You realize when things get hot and cold, they expand and contract. This will help keep that seal. And so yeah, let's start putting these kegs back together. Alright, to continue putting the kegs back together, we're going to start putting the post back on. Don't forget, beer is going to be 6 sides at the base of the post, and gas is going to be more than 6 on the side. You'll notice when you get this wrong when you cannot put your quick connection on your posts. So let's go ahead and get these all thrown on, and I'll be back. Alright, now we got all of those posts back on. You're going to use your wrench, which I believe is going to be a 7/8 wrench. 7/8 wrench, just give it a really good hand tight. Alright, so that's it for the kegs. Man, I'm sweating. It is 93 degrees here in Central Texas today. My garage got a little bit of airflow, but it's all good. So kegs are put back together, and minus the lids, these kegs are ready to go. I just gotta sanitize them. Then next batch, I can throw some beer in them, and it'll be good to go. So let's get back to the freezer itself. Let's get that turned back on. Let's get the lid back on, and start putting the manifold back together. So as I'm getting everything back together, I want to talk about my regulators setup and why I have what I have. I'm running a 2 regulators setup. CO2 goes on this side here, goes into both. Got my overall regular pressure on this side here. One line is 3 feet long. This goes to the manifold inside the Keezer itself, and one's about 10 feet long of hose. This is what I use to force carb on my beer. And when it's not in use, it's either rolled up inside the Keezer, or if I do have more than just the 4 kegs inside, I'll use this as a spare gas line. When you run it this much line, you do got to up the PSI just a little bit, but I run everything at 10 or 12 PSI, and so using the same regulator and the same manifold for everything works out great. Alright, so manifold's back installed. Everything's tied up. I'm going to connect some CO2. Man, it is pretty warm today. So that's I already got the freezer back on. It's going to take it a couple hours to get back cool again. When you turn your freezer back on, especially when it's hot and humid like this outside, just turn the like the strength of the compressor down to low. If you crank it on hot, it's going to be fighting itself and it's going to freeze over, and then possibly risk actually compromising the compressor itself. So I have it on all the way low, and it's just going to take a little bit longer to get cold, but you know, saves you the risk of losing your freezer. So. So when it comes to your tubing, I just do 10 feet. I'm 6 foot tall. That's 1 arm length plus half. That's all I do, and it seems to work fine. Some people get pretty specific. There's calculators online you can find. I just do what works, and it's consistent. So, and that's 4. Just go plug them in. Let's check out the inside of the Keezer. Everything's put back together. Got the manifold, CO2. I got my beer lines. I got them running on the edge here. These 2 here. I did drop the Inkbird temperature probe a little further down. Gas up to 34, but I was realizing I was getting a lot more ice there, so I'm going to drop it down so that it makes a difference, especially when I get more kegs in here. So all wrapped up with the cleaning. I got my kegs done. I got new beer lines, same gas lines. I cleaned out all my connections, all my posts, all my taps, new CO2 tanks, so everything's pretty much good for the next batch of beer got coming through. So I think the only thing I gotta do is go load up on some new propane, and I'll do that tomorrow, and then be cranking down a beer. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget likes and subscribe, and leave a comment below, and I'll catch you guys later.